وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد. Respected brothers and sisters, all praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting us this blessed day of Jum'ah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this day as a source of khair, and we ask Allah to protect us from all types of evil. Grant us the blessings of this day. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Just to recap and remind us ourselves for the a'mal of this day, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned that the best day from the week is the day of Jum'ah. In this day a person should increase in his ibadah, connecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The recommendations to recite Surah Al-Kahf, to recite as much as possible salutations upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And number 3 is to make as much as possible supplication, dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So at any given time throughout the entire day, a person gets some time, sit down and do these a'mal. And these a'mal will become the expiation of all the sins that were committed from today till the last week. Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned, al-jum'atu il-jum'ati kaffaratun lima baynahun. That one Jum'ah to the next Jum'ah, whatever minor sins that are committed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He forgives. So when a person prays the previous Jum'ah, and then Allah gives him the opportunity to pray the next Jum'ah, then all these minor sins in the middle are forgiven. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the strength to do that. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. In our journey of al-isti'dad li yawm al-ma'ad, preparation for the day of judgment when we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yahya ibn Mu'adh rahimahullah, he is a very well-known scholar, also a great worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, died 258 Hijrah. And his example were given even at the time when he was practicing, that a lot of people used to come and request him for dua, and his ibadah was very well known in the community, that how dedicated worshipper and a great scholar this individual is. Yahya ibn Mu'adh rahimahullah mentions that whoever would like to make his akhirah life successful when we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and earn the greatest glad tiding, tuba. And tuba is 2 things, either glad tidings or one of the places of Jannah, one of the levels of Jannah. So whoever would like to receive this great glad tiding on the day of judgment, he needs to do 3 things. The first thing, تَرَكَ الدُّنْيَا قَبْلَ أَن تَتْرُكَهُ. He leaves the world before the world leaves him. What does that mean? That his attachment to the world is very less or not even there at all. And this is the sign of a person dedicated to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when a person starts to get closer to Allah azza wa jal, one of the things that develops inside his life, the things of this world do not give any value to him. And that's why if you look into the life of Sahaba, you would see this highlighted. That having a profitable business or a non-profitable business did not make a difference in their life. A Sahabi radiyallahu anhu says that I went to one of the companions and I told him that I have found in the writings of my father that you owe us X amount of money. So this person is like, okay, if I owe you, take it whenever you want. The next day, this person met again. And then he said, I made a mistake. Instead of you owing us, we owe you this much amount of dollars. So this person is like, the Sahabi is like, okay, you don't have to give me right now. You can give whenever you feel comfortable. He says, no, my father has passed away, rahimahullah, and I want to take care of all his debts as soon as possible. So I have this piece of land. I want to give you that piece of land in exchange of the money that we owe you. So he says, okay, but the condition is this land is bare. It doesn't have any water. There is no water coming out from the land. He says, no worry about it. He took that piece of land. He told his servant to put the prayer rug and he started praying 2 rak'ah salah. And after he prayed 2 rak'ah salah, he asked his servant to dig. No water. Again, put the prayer rug, pray 2 rak'ah salah. And then after that, told him to dig it again, and then eventually the water is starting to come out. So, the Sahaba, they didn't have any attachment to the worldly things. If I want to get this, if someone is giving this, it has to be the best thing possible out there. I have to make the best profit out of my money. All of these things did not matter to Sahaba. Why? Because it's dunya. Today you have it, tomorrow you don't. All right? Either you leave it or it will leave you. One or the other. When a person has something, either it's going to leave you or you will leave it behind. No one is going to take any of these with them when they leave from this world. So the first thing he mentions is, Tuba liman taraka dunya qabla an tatrukahu. Glad tidings are for that individual who left the worldly attachment before the world left him. Because when a person leaves that worldly attachment, then for his journey to akhirah becomes very easy. The Prophet ﷺ told Abu Darda radiyallahu anhu that, "Oh Abu Darda, the journey to the akhirah is very great and very heavy. Those people who are light in this world will be heavy on the day of judgment. And those people who are heavy in this world will be light," meaning they won't have any a'mal. This is why when Darda radiyallahu anha used to tell her husband Abu Darda that why don't you go and start making business or do business as other people do business and make money. Abu Darda radiyallahu anhu used to tell her that, "Ya Darda, there is a bridge between me and the paradise. And I want to feel very light when I pass that bridge to my destination." So that's why a person, and how do we do that? The action is already there. لِمَنْ تَرَكَ الدُّنْيَا قَبْلَ أَن تَتْرُكَهُ. Leave the world before the world leaves you. But you need to achieve it. How are you going to develop this? By sacrificing the most beloved things that you have. لَن تَنَالُوا الْبِرَّ حَتَّى تُنْفِقُوا مِمَّا تُحِبُّونَ. If you have attachment to something very much, give it away for the sake of Allah. That's how a person develops detachment from the worldly life. But you don't want to give it away in a way that you start feeling sad about it for the rest of your life, and you're going through difficulty. You have to mentally prepare yourself that I love this thing, but I'm going to sacrifice it for the sake of Allah. I'm going to give it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that my detachment for the world develops and I'm getting closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. So mentally prepare yourself and then physically give it away. Then you will see how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings His love inside our heart. We ask Allah to grant us the understanding and the ability to practice. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakum Allahu khairan. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Wa nashhadu an la ilaha illa